Hannah. Welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. I'm a knitter and crafter from Nottingham in the UK, and I'm back after a few months hiatus. I had what can only be described as a disaster with a couple of my projects, and that sent me into a bit of a knitting rut. So for about 6 to 8 weeks I didn't pick my knitting up at all. The two projects I was working on were sat in my naughty corner, and then a couple of weeks ago I decided to cast on a new project, and that kind of got me out of my knitting rut. What's that called? Is there a word for it? And yeah, I've got quite a few bits to show you, so let's get into it. So first up I have a finished object. This is the Honey Bop cardigan by Poison Girls. I've been working on this for quite a few months now. I finished it months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. By the way, side note, I've just realised I haven't addressed. I've had a cough for the past 3 weeks and I can't get rid of it. I've had a croaky voice for 3 weeks now. I've got no idea what it is. So I'm powering through because I've been wanting to film this video for a few weeks now, and I haven't been able to because I've had no voice to do it. So that's why I sound a little bit husky. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's an improvement. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Honey Bop cardigan by Poison Girl Knits. I finished this a couple of months ago, and I haven't blocked it. I don't know why. I've been waiting for really good weather. When we've had really good weather, I've forgotten all those things, all those excuses. But this is, I mean, that doesn't look great, does it? You're not getting the best view of it because it's not blocked. And also, I went for a short sleeve because of the time of year. I intended it to be an autumn cardigan. I think I cast it on last year and wanted to wear it in the autumn. But then because I was finishing it in the spring, early summer, I thought, oh, I'll do a short sleeve and then that'll be a nice little spring cover-up. I don't think I like the short sleeve. I think I'm going to have to go back in and knit a longer sleeve, even if it's a half sleeve of 3/4 length, because I just don't think that this suits me at all. I'll have to try and insert a picture. But it isn't blocked yet. There's lots of things about this that if I were to knit it again, I would do differently. I knit the largest size, thinking that looking at the measurements and everything, that's what I needed, the largest size. I didn't want it to be super tight. However, it's so big. I think it looks wrong because it's so big. I didn't do all of the shaping. I think I mentioned in my previous video how I changed the shaping, so if you're interested, you have to have a look at that. But yeah, I didn't change. I changed the shaping so it wasn't as fitted. I did the largest size when I probably shouldn't have done. I probably should have done a large. Also, I'm not sure if I missed a buttonhole, but this V-neck is so deep. I feel like it needs an extra button like here. When it's on, if I found a picture, you'll see what I mean, but it's so deep, and at the moment, because it isn't blocked, the rib is just curling up. I've also noticed, just as I was getting everything ready to film this, that I have only sewn on 4 buttons, can we see, when there is an extra buttonhole here that I have not put a button on. So I've not done a very good job, really. I think that's what we're gonna conclude with this one. I've not done a very good job. I still love the yarn. I have worn it once, despite all of these issues. I've worn it once and got a compliment on the colours. This is from Biff Sugar Yarns, and it was a one-of-a-kind colourway called Genovia, I think it was, and it came as a sock set. Well, I bought 1 sock set and then really liked the colours, so I went back and bought 2 100-gram skeins, and I still have the pink that was the contrasting colour, and my intention was to do the rib in the pink, but when I was knitting the rib, because I'm impatient, I couldn't be bothered to have a look for it. Basically, calling myself out, I was lazy and couldn't be bothered, so I just carried on knitting it. I think I am going to go back in I'm going to do, the sleeves are just too big. I'm going to do longer sleeves. I'll probably go back and do the cuff in the contrasting pink that I've got. So yes, that will go back on my whip list, even though it is an FO. I'm classing it as an FO. Little wins where we can get them. It'll go back on my whip list for autumn, I think, and I will improve on that. Ready for that. Otherwise it's a waste of time, isn't it? Oh, have you got a drink? I am drinking hot water with honey and lemon instead of tea because I'm hoping that it helps my throat. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but quite into it at the moment. So next, let me have a look at my notes. Okay, so next up is my Franken jumper. We've spoken about this 1 or 2 times now as well. I am using the Fiberfox Blackberry Picking mini skein set and undyed yak for this. So I've had this is where number 1. Shall we class the Honeybot cardigan as a number 1 disaster? Yes, that's number 1. This is my number 2 disaster that caused me to go into a knitting rut and contemplate all of my knitting life. I'm not going to show you the disaster just yet. So just to refresh your memory, or if you're new, hello. This is the base is the Beauty School top by Poison Girls again, and I have used the Blackberry Picking mini skein set by Fiberfox, like I said a second ago, with undyed yak, and the stitch pattern is from the Other Loops sweater, which is by I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. It's been that long. But so last time I filmed an update, this is where I was at. I'd finished the body and I was just about to cast on the sleeves. I've cast on the sleeves and I've knit this much of the sleeves. However, I started it on the first colour of the rainbow, thinking that was a really good idea. It wasn't a really good idea. So this is what it looks like at the moment. So my thoughts were that because the first colour, I should start it and do the same colours all the way down. However, when I've tried it on, I've got to this point because I ran out of my ball of undyed yak ran out. So I thought, okay, I'll try it on at this point. I've put it on, and then when I've put it on, obviously the way that your arm falls, I think I should have started it with this like mulberry colour, blackberry colour. Oh my gosh, I just got it. Instead, because that's where that line goes across when it's on your arm. I took a picture and I asked on Instagram what people thought, and everybody who answered agreed that I needed to frog it and start the colours with this blackberry colour instead rather than the yellow. I asked my mum her opinion. She said to just leave it, but I think it's going to annoy me if I don't go back and change it. So that's how many rows? About 50 or 60 rows that I need to take back and do it again. I mean, it's on a sleeve, so it's not going to take too long, but that was disaster number 2 that meant I didn't want to knit anymore. So again, it's an autumn jumper, so I'm not in a huge rush for it, so I thought, right, we'll leave it for a bit and then come back to it. But it is, I'm really going to like it when it's finished. It's so soft and squidgy, and I really like the stitch pattern and the texture and the stripes and the colours. So yeah, that's disaster number 2, Beauty School crop, Beauty School top, with a stitch pattern from a pattern that I cannot remember the name of off the top of my head. So I'm not going to try and remember. So my third and final disaster, after the cardigan, after the beauty school top, I was like, this knitting is not going to win. I'm going to move on to another whip that I already had. So I'm knitting the Amadeo cardigan by, why do I do this? 1 second. Amadeo cardigan. Can't remember the pattern designer's name. I'm terrible with things like this. So I had knit one side already. I've shown this before, which is the right side. That is I think it's the left front, yeah. That's the left front. Love this yarn. It's Fibre Spates Coop Knits DK sock yarn, I think. I cannot pronounce the name of the colourway. I have talked about it in my previous video, but I'll put it on the screen as well. Really lovely diagonal eyelet design. I was having an eyelet moment at the end of last year and everything was eyelet. But I picked this up again after a long time and had done sort of probably about this much. Couldn't figure out what row of the pattern I was on, so thought it's okay. I will just frog back down to the top of the rib and start from row 1 of the pattern again. That's what I did. I failed to check after doing 120 plus rows. I failed to check that the needles that I'd kept it on were actually the right needle size, and I've now ended up, I think these are 3.5. I think I'm supposed to be using 5mm to do this. So I was just comparing it to the side that I'd already knit, and I was thinking this fabric just feels a lot squishier and drapier than this one. And then when I was having a look, I thought, oh, this looks a lot tighter. And everything was just like adding up, and I was like, oh, blooming heck. So I've ended up, I can't, because I've already done this, I've got to undo this one again and reknit it, because if this was the first side, then maybe I would have got away with it and been able to just carry on. But because I've already finished one side, I've got to undo it. So that's another week's worth of evening knitting that I've got to undo. I just wasn't having a good February, March. Everything was just going wrong. So that's got to be undone and reknit. The sleeve on my beauty school top has got to be undone and reknit. But I do really like the fabric of this and how it drapes, and I do think I will get a lot of wear out of this cardigan. Again, and maybe I've knit it too big. I keep doing this. I don't know whether, I know my measurements, and I don't trust the patterns. I know my measurements. I look at the size that my measurements are, and then I'll knit the size up just in case, because you're putting so much work into it. I don't want it to not fit. And then also, I am quite my tension is quite loose. I do always do a tension square. Did I not do one? I think I spoke about that before. I didn't do a tension square, it backfired, so now I always do a tension square. Yeah, so I knit a bigger size than I needed to on everything. I've got loose tension anyway. Those two things, you'd think after, 15 plus years of knitting, I'd know what to do now, but apparently not. So yes, that is the Amadeo cardigan that I've got to carry on knitting. I mean, I could wear that in summer, so maybe I can come back to it. It's not going to be very warm to wear in winter, so maybe it is like a spring, autumn cardigan. I don't know. But yeah, so that's all the disasters out the way. Then I had 8 weeks where I didn't want to knit at all. I didn't even want to look at the knitting. My husband was getting annoyed because the knitting was just gathering dust on the side, and he kept saying, are you going to do this again? Of course, I'm just having a think. So I was having a think, and I thought, what could I do to sort of reignite the spark and creativity that I've lost because of those 3 disasters. 1, 2, 3? 3 disasters, yeah. And I thought maybe I should cast on my Advent project. And I did a knitting plans video, and in there I said that I wasn't going to cast on my my Advent project until about September, because I was planning on making a wrap, a scarf, a shawl, whatever you want to call it. And I had a think, and I was like, it's going to be the summer, it's going to be warm. Do I really want to be knitting a scarf when it's really warm? Apparently the answer is yes, because I cast it on. Last year I had the Fiberfox Advent calendar. You may have seen it online. Loads of people went mad for it. It was absolutely gorgeous. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it here on the Fiberfox's Instagram. I loved it, really liked it, and decided that I wanted to knit a solstice wrap with it when the time came. So a couple of weeks ago I decided to cast it on. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than the pattern was actually. So I cast it on. I've just last night joined, I think it's colour number 6, and this is what it looks like so far. It's really nice. It's really nice. Oh, I'm all in a twist. You didn't get the full effect then, did you? Should we do that again? Let me just... Right. Pretend you didn't see it a second ago. Woo! Actually, the colours, like, in real life, IRL, that's cringy. Why did you say that? In real life, you can't see the colour change quite as effectively or as much as you can on the camera. That looks really good. So I really liked that it was a zigzag. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That looks really cool. I really liked the zigzag design. Eyelets again. Remember, we're having an eyelet moment. One day I will be sick of knitting eyelets. So I believe that when it's all finished, it's kind of diagonal, like the what's it called? It doesn't go straight up and down. The chevrons don't go straight up and down. They kind of are like this, I believe. I'm not sure, but I really like how it's going so far. It's knitting up quite quickly. It's the pattern repeat I've already done 1 1/4, so we're over a quarter of the way through, and I've just joined colour number 6. I did go through the Advent because I was going to try and keep it a surprise as to what colour was coming next, because I didn't sorry, I couldn't remember because I've not had a look since Christmas. And then the pattern for this scarf, or the solstice wrap it's called, by Amber O'Brien, didn't it only called for 20 colours. So I had a look through and I thought, oh, is there 4 colours that maybe aren't the best or I don't particularly like, and then I'll just not do those 4 colours. But when I had a look, the colours that I'm not too keen on are all at the end. There's like a little brown section, and they're not really my faves. But I think I've decided to just go with it and just do it as it is, because it sort of moves on from pinks and like from the blues it goes to dark purples, then it goes on to pinks, and then is it like a little bit red, and then into browns. I can't really remember. So it's a semi-surprise as I'm opening them. But yeah, that is what reignited the creativity, and I've not been able to put that down for a couple of weeks now. So yeah, I'm going to put a stitch marker where I am today, and then next time I see you, hopefully I will have, well, I'm hoping that I'll be onto the purple section and the pinks. That'll be cool. Unless it gets too hot, and then I will not be knitting it. So, I've also been working on my Enchanted Yarn Club blanket. This is the Triangulum blanket by Craft House Magic, and it's like an ongoing project. I've not got an end date for it. I'm just knitting it as I fancy, and then when I've got all the bits all of the hexagons together, I will start like adding the colours. You just have to stick around and see, because I can't explain what is in my brain. So I've done this hexagon in the last few weeks. I love the colours of this one. I think this one might be my favourite so far. And then I finished that one and moved straight on to another one. This is another set. So the yarn that I'm using is all from the Beehive Yarns Enchanted Yarn Club last year. Each month there was a 5 skein set. Well, I chose to have a 5 skein set delivered, and it was all based around a different picture. I think I showed cards and a lot of the colours in my knitting plans video. I think I did. I don't think I cut it out. But yeah, so that's the 2 that I've done in the last couple of weeks. And then the other day I started to do a 3rd one. These ones are all purples. I'll put a picture of what these look like as skeins, because they were really, really pretty. So yeah, so I'm just working on that as well. So I've got the solstice solstice wrap, and my triangular blanket are the 2 projects that I'm focusing on at the moment, because that seems to be what is drawing my attention. But yeah, I think that's it for knitting. I do have one sewing piece that I was working on the other week. I'll just get it. Last year I made some Arthur pants by Sew Liberated, and I wear them all the time. They're a little bit big for me now because I made them just after I had a baby, so now they're a little bit loose. And in October last year I decided I wanted to make some Halloweeny ones. Started making them and then went back to work, so ran out of time. And it's probably 4 or 5 weeks ago now, I managed to do a little bit on them. So all I have left to do, how Halloweeny are these? All I have left to do, I've done the pockets on the side, I've done the pockets on the back, both of them, on each bum cheek. All I have left to do is the waistband, so they won't be this, they will be more cinched in. But it's such a good pattern. I really, really enjoy doing them. I'm doing a smaller size than I did last time because they are supposed to be baggy, and I'll try and find a picture of them. The pattern, the legs go like this, like balloon. Pants, they're so comfy, and I learned how to do flat fold seams, so they've got seams you can't really see because of the fabric that I've chosen. Flat fold seams down the front and also down the back. No, you can't see that. But everything's encased, and I love how neat they are, and hopefully in the next few weeks they will be finished so that I can wear them. They will look a lot better when they're cinched in a bit, not as baggy. But yeah, that's my sewing whip. I've got some fabric left over, so I was going to make some for my daughter as well, or maybe a jumpsuit for her. She'd look quite cute in a jumpsuit. And also the Arthur pants that I made before, I've got some of that fabric left over, so I might make some out of that as well, and they'll be nice for her to wear in autumn. But yeah, I think that's everything. Let me check my notes. Oh, so I recently went to Lincoln, and we was having a look. Me and my husband were looking around the shops there, and they've got a sea salt. Love sea salt, and we don't have one in Nottingham, so whenever we go somewhere that has one, I always like to have a little sneaky peek. And we also went to Fat Face, and Fat Face had a lot of cotton cardigans, and I've never knit myself a cotton cardigan, but now I'm wondering if I need a cotton cardigan for summer. I don't have a pattern in mind, but if anybody knows of any patterns that would look nice in cotton, then let me know. I think that's everything. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed my, I was going to say long awaited. Nobody was waiting. Nobody asked where I was. I hope you enjoyed my update. That's what's been happening. I was in a knitting rut, now I'm back, hopefully. And yeah, hopefully, I'm not gonna even say when I'm next gonna see you, because you never know what's gonna happen. But next time, hopefully I won't have a croaky voice, and I will not have had so many disasters. I'll see you soon. Thank you. See ya.